Shalom, family trendsetter. All praises be to the Most High Power Hashem for allowing us to see another day. Now, many of y'all might be wondering, who is this Hashem that this guy is giving reverence to? That's pretty much the unseen power. That's what I refer to the Most High as, Hashem, right? He's the Most High. He is the God of all gods, quote unquote God of all gods, because God is really a title. Okay, many Christians worship God, which is actually Lucifer. A lot of them don't realize that Jesus Christ is actually Lucifer. They're one of the same. But that's for another video. I can go into my playlist and check out the video where I talked about Jesus Christ being Lucifer, the morning star, and Lucifer being the day star. He's also referred to as the morning star. But anyway, I want to talk today about this New Age movement, where you have many of our people following after Egyptology. I guess I'm pronouncing it right, I don't know. But they're believing that they're gods, right? They're calling themselves gods and goddesses, and they're following man. They're doing man worship. Now, I want to speak upon two individuals. I'm not going to go too much into details about these individuals. So the first individual is Rashid Jamal, and you have Nature Boy, okay? Now, I'm sure many of y'all are familiar with these two individuals. They have allegations against them. I'm not going to talk about the allegation because that's exactly what it is, an allegation. Black people have been having allegation for over centuries and shit on us, you know what I'm saying? So whenever the white man is involved with allegation, I try to stay away from it. Although it's said that these allegations was brought upon them by females, okay? But I'm going to leave it right there. So let's talk about, are we really gods? Now, I know in the Bible, right, in both the Old Testament and the New Testament, it does mention that, it does state that we are gods. Now, to a degree, I do understand why a lot of people actually rock with that. And, you know, technically we are some form of God, but with lower G. And when I say God, I take that word very loosely, because God is nothing more than a title. There are many gods, because you have the Christian worshiping one God, you have the Muslim worshiping one God, you have the Buddhist worshiping one God. You know what I'm saying? Your car can be a God, your female, you know, your woman can be a God. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you put more reverence into, you acknowledge, or you worship. Because in some cases, people do idolize celebrities, you know what I'm saying? Movie stars, basketball players, you know, sports athletes. So those can become a God. You know, anything that you give more reverence, or you spend more time acknowledging, you know, having admiration, or what, I guess that's a word too, right? Towards, that's a form of God. That's a form of God worship. But now you have our people actually worshiping man, calling man God, shit, right? You have some of these niggas actually saying that they're God, like Rashid Jamal and Nature Boy and many others. You know, Young Pharaoh. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And if you notice what the Most High is doing, the Most High is tearing down their I would say their kingdom, because see, they're exalted by man, but the Most High is showing them that you're not God. You know what I'm saying? Or you're not the Most High. You might be a extension of source, because the Most High is actually the source. In the Bible, I believe it was Genesis 2:7, it says, and God formed man from the ground and blew the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So technically, we are a part of the Most High. We are, I guess you would say, an extension of the Most High, right? We do have the spirit of the Most High in us. So yes, we are gods. And these hybrids that came from us, you know who I'm referring to, right? They don't have what we have. They don't have both a soul and a spirit. You know what I'm saying? They may have a spirit, but they don't have a soul. So they should really be worshiping us as God, because we are a part of the Most High creation. They didn't come from the Most High. We created them. The Neanderthals and the humans, they mixed, and they created a new species of mankind, right? And this is why you see they're so wicked, because the Neanderthal was a beast-like creature. They loved, I mean, this creature loved to kill. It was a hunter-gatherer, and it basically, all it thrives to do is just to murder and kill. You know what I mean? And that's why I told y'all in many videos, even Cain himself came from the Neanderthals. You know what I'm saying? Because Eve, she had relations with the serpent. She had sex. It wasn't no apple she ate, because I know a lot of y'all believe that she ate an apple. We eat apple today. Are we sinning against the Most High, or God? You know what I mean? She had relations with the serpent. That's why in the Bible it tells you, I think it's in Genesis 115. I'm not sure of the scripture, but that the Most High say He's going to put enmity between the woman seed and the serpent seed. I'm paraphrasing, right? Which means the serpent has a seed today, and y'all can guess who they are, because again, man, God, according to the Bible, right? God formed man from the ground. We know the ground is not white, okay, and we know that these well, if you don't know, these hybrids only been around for a little over 6,000 years. We've been around for way more than that. You know what I'm saying? Mankind, everywhere you go around the world, you see melanated people, because we are the original man. You know what I mean? But that's for another video also. So, are you really God? Because Rashid Jamal and Nature Boy, they claim that they're gods, right? I've watched like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 videos of Rashid Jamal where he talk about, you know, if the man came down on him or the police or whatever, what he was going to do, blah, 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 blah. So the question is this: if these individuals are gods, because they're being idolized as gods, right? Well, I don't know about Nature Boy if he's still incarcerated, but I know for certainty that Rashid Jamal, he's still in prison, because I think he's supposed to get another hearing in July 19th. I think it's either July 19th or it could be possible June 19th. But I guess the question I'm asking is this: if they're gods, how is it possible that man, right, the white man to be exact, can actually incarcerate them, can put them in a system, put them behind bars? And if they have these abilities, because they always talk about what they can do and how they can transcend and they can do all this extra shit, how come they not doing it now? How come they not trying to, you know, show their true power, to prove to me, at least prove to me, that you're some form of God? Because last time I checked, when you're a quote-unquote God, and again, I don't like to use that word God, because God is none other than Lucifer. You know what I'm saying? Satan is a spirit. When you say the devil, it's not a being that have a horn and tail. It's basically a spirit. Lucifer, however, is an individual, right? Because if you was to read the whole fall of Lucifer, it tells you that it even says that this is the man that caused nation to tremble. So this entity at one point was on, you know, was up there, you know what I'm saying, what had a stature, and the Most High tore him down. You know, some people believe that it was actually an angel that was cast out of heaven, and you know, now he's living as a mortal. But I mean, you know, whatever. But family, I want you to understand that the Most High now, what he's doing, he's literally separating the wheat from the tear, right? The 2/3 continue to be purged, because see, a lot of y'all don't understand when the Bible talks about he was going to purge 2/3 of Yasharal, Israel, right? That purge began from 70 AD. It's been an ongoing purge. You know what I'm saying? Even to today, every time you see or you might hear of a so-called black man getting gunned down by a police officer, it's simply because, you know, he's purging us. You know, he's purging Yasharal. And then you may have family members, like my son. The other day, my son got murdered, right? Literally got shot in the head, execution style, in the Bronx. And you know, I mean, I'm not gonna go too much into it, because, you know, I dealt with the situation. But even my son was judged, because he was dealing with the new age shit. He was dealing with crystals. He was, you know, praying to ancestors and shit. And let me ask y'all a question about this ancestor worship shit. Now, I understand why we do it, because that might have been a practice that our ancestors did, you know, worshiping their ancestors. But if your ancestors, right? If you're worshiping your ancestors and they're called your ancestors, that means they're no longer here. So what kind of power do they have if they're no longer here? If they wasn't able to sustain their life, you're here, you have a physical existence, you have a spirit and soul. What can they do in their spiritual realm for you that you can't do for yourself here? You know what I'm saying? Now I understand a lot of people are saying, including myself, I'm spiritual. When I say I'm spiritual, I'm not talking about I deal with, you know, witchcraft or I deal with ancestors work. I'm talking about I don't deal with religion. Religion is man-made. It was created to separate us. You know what I'm saying? It was created to literally control us and enslave us. I deal with spirituality. What I mean by spirituality, I mean like I deal with the unseen power. I know for a fact there is a creator, because I am a creation, right? And I know also that we are here as a form of punishment. We are literally on this hellhole, right? We're in this motherfucking hell, in this dimension, literally suffering. I don't care how much wealth you think you have, and you know what I mean, you're better off. Yeah, you might be better off financially than others, but you're still breathing the same air, polluted air. You still got to deal with death. You still got to deal with sickness, ailment. So you really know better than me. The only difference is that because we're here, we're here, right, on this prison planet, I refer to as hell, is that we set it up for creature comfort, to comfort ourselves while we're here. You know what I mean? So some might say, okay, money have value, and the more money you have is the more, you know, I guess the more they put on the money as being valuable, then, right? You may have more than the other, because we create all this shit. You know, everything that we see around us, they literally, family, the powers that shouldn't be, they create all this thing. This is a reality that they create. This shit is not real to a degree. You know what I mean? But again, if you're calling yourself God, how is it that you're on the bottom? If you're God, you're supposed to be above. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be. And I know a lot of y'all might say, well, you know, spiritually we are. And okay, spiritually we are God. But I believe that the Most High is not ready to give us that God status yet, quote unquote God status yet, because we still have a lot of rough around the edges. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the 400-year curse have lifted in 2019. I know a lot of people don't believe it, but it actually has, because if you notice right after the curse have lifted, how we have all these disasters, right, and plagues on the land. But I want y'all to stay tuned. I'm gonna do a part 2 because I am driving. I want to focus on the road. I'm gonna do a part 2 explaining what's really going on. I know for a fact that they're spiritual beings, because I've actually witnessed supernatural intervention in my life. I told y'all that on the past video, but I want to go into it more. So stay tuned for the next video. And again, the question is, are you truly God? Because if you are, why are we on the bottom? You know, so where's the most? All right, if we're God, why are we not ruling then? Okay, answer that question. And with that, I say peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom.